So it's that time of year where the return list does come out for all clubs around League 2, League 1, Championship, etc. So today then, in today's video, I'll be going through Barrow's return list, giving my thoughts on who is under contract, who has been released, and who is in talks with a new contract, but just not yet agreed. But before we do get any further into this video, then please don't forget to smash like, subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on to be notified every single time I post a new video. And let's get into the 3 players that are in talk with a new contract but just haven't agreed to terms yet. So then, the first 3 players that are in talk with a new contract but still not yet agreed terms. So they've got a deadline on that contract. If they agree it, they agree. If they don't, unfortunately, they will be released. And the 3 players that are in talk with a new contract, starting off then that with our top goal scorer last season, playing 36 games, getting 15 goals and 1 assist, which is Josh Gordon, a key part of last year's squad, helping us get in that top 10 finish. Shame we couldn't get into the playoffs when we had the chance to do so. The next player then, Josh Kay, another key player in the squad last season. Didn't really get much game time last year. He started in the squad, then dropped out of the squad, then comes back in. So it'd be interesting to see if Josh Kay does stay for another season. Josh Lillis then, the keeper coach. It'd be interesting to see, even if Josh Lillis doesn't sign another contract to play, is he going to stay with the squad as a coaching staff? So it'd be interesting to see what Josh Lillis does, if he does agree to play next season, or he goes on to just be part of the coaching staff. Now let's move on to a bit of upsetting news in a player that has unfortunately had talks with a new contract, but unfortunately the terms could not be agreed. So then, moving on to the player that unfortunately, well, he was offered a new contract, but unfortunately the terms weren't agreed, and that is Patrick Brough. Patrick Brough has joined Barrow in the 2019-2020 season and has played until the 2022-23 season. So that's up to 4 seasons he has played with the Bluebirds now, and it's been a massive key part of that promotion squad where we did from the National League into League 2. So the man, I knew he wouldn't have stayed next season. He's had an unbelievable time here at the club, and hopefully he goes on to make better things in his career. Be interesting to see where Patrick Brough does go. I think he could make the step up into League 1, or he does stay in League 2, but a higher end League 2 side, and probably on a better contract. But now let's move on to the long list of players that have remained under contract for 2023-24 season. So then, moving on to the long list of players that do remain under contract for the 2023-24 season. So starting off with the keeper, Paul Farman. He's not long recently signed another 1-year deal with the club. So that's a very, very good. I know he's a bit controversial from fans that do sit near where from where I do sit, the diss Paul Farman. But the thing is, a keeper's going to cost you at games, and they're also going to save you at games, and that's what Paul Farman has done this season. He's cost us at some times, but he's also saved us as well. So moving on, next player, Tyrell Warren, that we did bring in the summer from FC Halifax Town. But brought in at the start of the season in Tyrell Warren from FC Halifax Town. This man has had he's been inconsistent is what you could say. He's had a brilliant start to the season, and then he dipped off, and then near the end of the season, he's had a few decent games. So it's just a bit inconsistency from Tyrell Warren. Moving on, Elliot Newby joined in the summer transfer window alongside other players that we did bring in that are also on this list. So Elliot Newby, that when he has come into the squad, he's looked very, very good. It'd be interesting to see how Elliot Newby does next season if he does get more game time. Rory Feely, the next player that is on the list, joining from Bohemians in the Irish division. This man has been solid at the back when he has played games. Really like Rory Feely. Hopefully can not be. He's a bit injury prone. He's been out a couple of times injured, so hopefully he'll have an injury-free season next year, and hopefully he can get a lot of games. Moving on, George Ray, another player that's been a bit inconsistent this season, but other than a bit inconsistent. Now Canavan, the next player, the captain, what a season he's had. Just strong at the back, very vocal at the back as well. He's not put a foot on in that defence. Sam Foley, the next player that is under contract for next season. He's had a brilliant season. Another player that's a bit injury prone as well, been out injured with back problems and stuff like that. But when he has played, he's looked very, very solid in that midfield. Next player then, Tom White, also not long signed another contract with us. Tom White, a workhorse, the man that doesn't give up, the man that works hard for his shirt. When he's dropped out of the squad near the start of the season and he's put in a ship and kept his shirt for the rest of the season, this man has worked so hard, non-stop running. Moving on, next player then, Robbie Gotts, not long signed another contract as well. Before all this retain list did come out, there's a few players that did sign new contract, and Robbie Gotts, Tom White and Paul Farman were them three players that did sign new contract. Robbie Gotts has had a decent season. Robbie, be interesting to see what he's like next year. Moving on then, Ben Whitfield does remain under contract, but I've just got a feeling that Ben won't stay next season. I've got a feeling that a club may come in for Ben Whitfield and may buy his contract out. Be interesting to see how that goes. Moving on then, Richie Bennett returning back from his loan spell at Scunthorpe United. I just don't see where Richie Bennett fits into the squad next season, but I guess Pete Wild has still got Richie Bennett in his plans. And then moving on, the final player that does remain under contract for next season is our transfer record signing that we didn't bring in the summer, in the January transfer window even, is Ged Garnett from Fleetwood Town. So there is the long list of players that do remain under contract for the 2023-24 season. So then, moving on to the final bit of the return list, we would also like to thank and offer our best wishes to the following players who were with us on loan at the end of the 2022-23 season and will now return to their parent clubs. Sam McClelland, what a season he's had. It'd be interesting to see if Sam McClelland does step up into League One. I do think he can do it in the higher divisions. Great player. I know he's been out for a major part of the season with a hernia injury, but I still think he can do it. He can move up into League One, so there might be a lot of interest in Sam McClelland from League One clubs. Moving on then, Harrison Neal, we brought him on loan from Sheffield United. What a season he's had in that midfield. Another workhorse that doesn't give up and will work hard for the shirt. I've heard there's been both I've heard that Harrison Neal does want to come back to the club, so it'll be interesting to see if the talks are ongoing between both us and Sheffield United, or maybe agreeing a deal to bring Harrison Neal back for another year. And then Jake Young, who returns back to Bradford. To be honest, when Jake Young has played, he's looked promising, but I just feel he'll return back to Bradford and probably start playing for Bradford if he does build up the relationship that he did, the relationship back with Mark Hughes, because apparently the reason why he was sent out on loan, he did fall out with the Bradford City manager. So it'd be interesting to see if he does get first team football next year for Bradford. And then finally, we would like to thank Jason Taylor, who has decided to retire and has been offered a coaching role within the club. Yeah, Jason Taylor has retired now to be the coach for the Barrow B team going into next season as well. Also, to speak on the B team, it's a very, very good thing for us to bring in some young talents from local area in Barrow, and hopefully we can see some of them players maybe progressing and getting to play in the first team in a couple of seasons. But that is where the video is going to come to an end. If you have enjoyed it, then you know what to do. Smash like, subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on so you don't notified every single time I post a new video. I'll be back with maybe some more videos in talking about a few targets that Barrow should be looking at coming in to the summer, and also when players do get announced and other stuff do get announced, I will give you my instant reaction. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you for another video very, very soon.